Hi everyone, and welcome back to another video. Well, we've had another episode of Andor drop today, and it was about as eventful as a dry fish. But, then again, it did give us a lot of information that we could use. For example, we are learning quite a fair bit more. There is a lot going on in the galaxy that we going on behind the scenes. It seems as if the fact that the so-called, probably the main villain, is trying to piece together a pattern, but it's proving difficult. We also learned that the big operation that Andor is to take part in is quite possibly going to be quite a big one, and the fact that here the rebel crew that he's joined up with can't really do the job because they don't know. They know how to fly the ship, but they don't know how to actually get the ship capable, calibrated to fly. And there's also some rather interesting things as well. I think quite possible if it's unclear exactly how many husbands Mon Mothma has had. I'm just going off into headcanon here, and I reckon the fact this is her another husband. She probably might have divorced a couple. And the fact that the girl that we see is her stepdaughter. Why I'm saying that is because, one, she and Mon Mothma have a sort of a standoffish relationship, as is often not the case with stepchildren and step-parents. She doesn't quite like the fact that she has a prominent senator who can't just bring nothing but trouble. And at the same time, Mon Mothma is trying to do things with her, trying to be a maternal figure, but is in unfamiliar territory. Suggesting the fact that she didn't necessarily really have children when she was much younger. And that quite possibly she doesn't necessarily really know how to handle an infant, let alone a teenager. Because I'm assuming that just based on what I see on the screen. But there's also something else as well. The Rebel Alliance, as it forms, is gaining ground, and it's quite possible either there's multiple cells active at the moment, or maybe the fact that some people are coordinating their actions. Because as we've seen in previous episodes, there are those who are trying to help the rebellion grow with each and every passing day. The final possibility is that, well, someone wants to bring the rebel factions together, but due to different reasons, the Rebel Alliance doesn't quite have the necessary funding, and there's too many different political ideologies clashing at the minute to create something that could really stand up to the Empire. That and the fact the X-Wing is probably not available yet. But one thing I did think that was rather interesting is the fact that a lot of the people involved in Andor's group does seem to have a history with the Empire. A lot of them lost their homes and their farms and their livelihoods to the Empire when the Empire arrived on their planet several years ago. Flooding the valley has most likely meant the fact that the dam has disrupted their customs and their run of probably their entire way of life. But there's also the fact that one thing that I found particularly interesting is the fact that there are those in there who are trying to get something going in terms of, I don't know, a manifesto that could be used as a rallying cry. But as one might expect, such a person is very young and idealistic. The other thing I think is rather interesting, I think it's just in general of the fact that there would be Imperial people working for the rebellion, and the reason why the Imperial Lieutenant who's helping basically a bunch of farmers get some money and some other stuff, the reason why he's doing it is because, one, he fell in love with a local woman, that cost him promotion, So his career went down the toilet. It cost him a few other things. And eventually, he lost the woman he loved due to unforeseen circumstances. But besides the point, I hope in the next episode it's going to be do that, because I think I know the formula for Andor. We're going to get one episode in which everything is introduced and explained. We're going to get another episode in which stuff builds up. We learn more about the characters involved. We learn a little bit more about Andor and the people involved with it. We learn why they're doing what they're doing. And then we learn what is going to happen, sort of building up to the point where things are about to kick off. The final moment, I think, just in general, is the fact it's probably only, in terms of Star Wars Galaxy time, only a few hours before the various different this rebel cell does what it's going to do. I think it's just also good to realise the fact that Mon Mothma actually, due to her political career and her outspoken nature, can't seem to really do some of the things she wants to do, but also at the same time she finds herself under scrutiny from many different people in and around her, including those closest to her. And the fact that she's living in this sort of awkward domestic life, and also is having to try and help a single father raise a daughter who quite possibly may have not exactly been really with the idea of her father marrying a prominent, outspoken senator, especially one with a track record like Mon Mothma, who effectively became leader of any sort of dissident movement after the death of Padme Amidala. The best thing I think about the whole episode, though, was the fact that we've learned exactly where Cassian Andor went to prison and when he went to prison. That was certainly an interesting moot point. And the fact that he wasn't the only one who's done anything, and the fact that technically he still only sees himself as a hired gun. And as far as he's concerned, being a hired gun is what he wants. He just wants to get the job done, get his cut, and then go off somewhere and live in peace at the moment. Although it could be possible the fact that he might be warming up to the idea of rebellion again. It's certainly going to be something, and I can't wait again till next week, where we get the exciting conclusion to this particular arc. I can hardly wait. Well, I've been the Universal Challenger, and I thank you for watching. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheerio!